Are you ready to go, Bug?
Bugaboo.
And just like that, our time is done in Pigeon Forge.
I know, sad day, but on to the next adventure.
We have a drive back to Texas where we plan to spend kind of through the holidays because that's where our families are, all that good stuff. We have a couple of things, surprises bouncing around the state though.
Yes, we do.
So let's, we got to do one quick little walkthrough and then we're hitting the road.
Let's go.
So what we wanted to do in this video is take you back for the trip home to Texas. I guess home's behind us. And we're changing up a little bit how we travel in this one. So we wanted to kind of share that process with you.
So like he was saying, our travel style has actually really changed over the last bit, and that's because we've learned more about how we like to travel and what we want to accomplish with our travels. And so we used to just go 90 to nothing fast. It was almost like check it off the list, right? You get your photo, you get your t-shirt, and then you kind of move on. And that was really stressful.
You get your t-shirt as you're wearing your Iron Forge Brewing Company t-shirt.
It's only because we went there 3 times. All right, figure if you go somewhere 3 times, you earn the t-shirt. But anyways, and so we kind of changed that to accomplish more what we want out of our travels. So we're taking things a little bit more slowly and making sure that we kind of soak it in instead of just kind of ticking it off the list of moving forward. And that's benefited us quite well, I think.
So what does doing it our own way a little bit slower mean to us? Well, for starters, it means stopping at like a rest stop like this instead of just a truck stop and not getting McDonald's and fast food. We had some leftovers from Pigeon Forge from some of the places we went and ate, and so we actually kind of just turned on the generator, used the microwave and heated up some food, used the restroom, and yeah, I mean, yes, we're in it's still tight, don't get me wrong, but at least we can eat our food and do the things we need to do to get back on the road. Another benefit of towing our home and stopping at a rest stop, you get to use our own restroom.
When we picked this floor plan, one of the big things that we were interested in was being able to access the restroom and most of the kitchen without, inconveniencing having to pull out slides, etc. And that has worked really well.
It has. Plus we know the hygiene we have and you don't at rest stops, so yay that. So just so you see it too, we actually needed to get around the island. So this is about how far we stick out the slide. So it's not that far. When you do that, you have full access to the fridge. And for the outside reference, that's all we did. We didn't push it very hard. We didn't do any of that. So just enough to kind of get what we need to get and move around it and then come on in. So one of the changes we've never made is stopping at truck stops and going through here and using our open roads cards. One thing we do is try to minimize our time here though. So we'll simply get fuel, use the restroom real fast depending on how long the line is, and that's it. We're gonna start trying to eat more out of the RV at like rest stops and those types of things. If you're interested in signing up for an open roads fuel card, if you sign up under our little affiliate link, you'll just be buying us a little bit of diesel. So we would greatly appreciate if you're thinking about doing it, do it there. Also make sure and check out our full video over how to do that and what open roads is. This is a first for us.
Oh boy, what was it?
This is the first time we've made it to a Cracker Barrel and it's not dark.
Your navigator says you're welcome.
So part of us changing up how we do travel days is that I wanted to start getting places during the day and be a little less fatigued.
Yes. So some of that also comes down to planning, because he gets really gung-ho about like leaving. I'm so excited. And it's like, well, we have to wait until I'm off work to leave. And he's like, that's fine.
Yeah.
And then he's surprised that it's dark when we get there.
Okay, so in that scenario, yes, I get it. But the 12 to 14 hour travel days.
Yes.
So today ended up being about a 10. It was like 9 hours of drive time, right?
I think about 10. We left at 8:30. It's about 5:30.
So yeah, it's about
an hour time change.
Yeah, so it was about 10 hours of actual drive time, but that also now does include like gas stops, lunch breaks, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
But it took us 10 hours to get here, probably about 9 hours of legitimate driving, which I think is going to start becoming our ceiling. Obviously, if there's like something really cool on the other end of it,
or famous last words,
or a certain scenario that we might do that. But the goal now is to actually, this is going to sound crazy for us. Tomorrow's drive day is how long?
Supposedly like 6 hours.
I don't even know what to do with that.
So when he's bored at the
and we'll see how it goes. But I mean, after a long drive day, and I might get up and go,
true.
I really want to go.
Right.
But then I get about an hour and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. So at least this gives me the option of not worrying how to get up. I can have a cup of coffee. I can sit for a second. It's not just haul.
And if you are RVing, I'm sure you can kind of commiserate. But if you are not RVing yet, take this into account when you do your route planning, that these long days are hard on you. I know you're just sitting there, but they're difficult.
I feel so bad for the passenger in the truck all the time. So, okay, so it is shocker. We're at a Cracker Barrel. There it be. We still have our solar. That didn't magically happen between here and there. And so we have the generator running. We are going to get the pups squared away, get the truck turned off, and we're going to get some dinner. But this is where we're going to leave you because I'm tired. So we'll see you guys in the morning, probably standing right here.
Good morning from our Cracker Barrel stop. Just a quick update on the overnight thing. So this stop was fine. The Cracker Barrel was actually solid. The parking lot was great. Lauren slept okay. I got sick last night. I don't know why, so I was up most of the night not feeling well. We'll leave it at that. Feel a little bit better this morning. I'm hoping that just kind of getting going and moving will help me out a little bit. So I'm struggling a little bit this morning. Also, we were doing some route stuff last night, and we realized that we can drive 4 hours, 5 hours to the north side of DFW and then do an hour and a half to 2 hours more in the morning. Or we can just do like 5.5 to 6 hours now and get where we're going. So this is one of the things about like slowing down is sometimes it doesn't actually make sense to go slower, and this is one of those scenarios. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get back to Fort Worth, so we're taking a night off. In retrospect, in the route planning side, we should have taken a slower day yesterday and then a slower day today, and then we could have done a smaller one and done it that way. But you live and you learn. Also, we're learning with this RV. This RV is a lot bigger, so we require almost 10 spaces if we go sideways, like if you park, across parking spots instead of like a diagonal, like a truck slot kind of a thing, to be able to fit. And not 10 spaces that we need. We actually need about 8 of them, but we need 10 so that I can get in and straighten up with a little bit of overhang. So yeah, that's kind of what's going on. We have to just kind of pack up and get going this morning. We're already changed and ready to go. The truck's on and warming up because it's a little chilly outside. I'll show you a few things that we do that's a little different than some people, just to kind of give you some ideas if you're boondocking anywhere, what like precautions or anything else that we do to kind of help. So it's a little loud because the generator's on, but one of the things we do is we have this bed cover. So we actually bring it here to the pin box, and then it locks. So it also will go all the way down and lock, but we do this just because we keep a few things back here. And if this locks, it just gives us a little added security, essentially. I've got to open it back up. Morning. So also, Lauren's here now.
Morning.
So what did you do while I was struggling this morning?
I took the dogs and left. No, gave you your space. No, really, they were awake. They wanted to go for a walk and greet everybody that's here for breakfast hour at Cracker Barrel, because that's just them. So we did. We went for a little walk, and yeah, was all good.
Yeah, and I was up when they left, but it's sometimes if one person's not feeling well, even in this scenario, it's just better to kind of let them do things at their own pace, was what she let me do this morning. So,
Yeah, exactly.
which was helpful because it allowed me to kind of come out of things in my own way instead of being forced and then grumpy about it.
But also the dogs were ready to go, so the timing was very good.
Yep. So, okay, let's get the pups loaded.
Let's go. They're ready. This isn't gonna go well.
Why? So one added little thing that we did to our routine in the morning is I have to get this cooler into the bed of the truck. We don't have enough straps to tie it down anywhere in the back, and so it's been riding in the bed of the truck. Why do we have to put a cooler up there? Is because our fridge is out. We're working on that video. We're working on a solution, but yeah, our fridge went out about a week ago or so, and we didn't have time to get it looked at or fixed or anything before we left for Pigeon Forge. So we've been refrigerating it out of a cooler. So, but this has to move up so that it can be secured, and then everything needs to be locked back up. So even though we only stopped briefly, we still run through and do a double check on everything.
Right.
Obviously, we didn't push this slide out because it's in the roadside. So there's not a whole lot to double check over there except for the things that are on it. But we still double check this slide, that nothing's in the way when it comes pulled in. Everything's in a secure place because we moved stuff around last night.
That's the thing, is you pull little things out, so you just want to make sure everything's put back. And it's a good time to do another walk around, just like you do at your gas station.
Yep. We still have to pull up jacks and all that other stuff as well. So this is also the time where we kind of say it's time to potty break. Speak now or forever hold your peace, if you may.
Last call.
Pretty much. So we're going to get the slide pulled in, quick restroom break, and then we're going to pull the jacks and roll.
Let's go.
We are officially back in Texas. There's always something special about coming back to your home state. Obviously, Laura and I grew up in the Fort Worth area. For most of our lives, we've called it home. And so Texas will always have a very special place in our heart. So, a couple of things. This is probably the last time we're going to leave the state for a few months. We do have a bunch of trips planned in the state. But with the holidays coming up, and if you followed our live or anything else, you know Lauren's mom's going through some medical stuff. We want to be present for a lot of that stuff, so we're going to be hanging out in Texas for the rest of the time. Doesn't mean we don't have fun stuff coming up, though. Also, by now we've probably put out the announcement video, so it's out in the world to see, but we came out with our own camping shirts and all that kind of stuff. I'm actually wearing our Red Friday shirt. So this one just has our logo on the front. It's got a big American flag going vertical on the back, along with the Remember Everybody Deployed or Red Friday. We also have memberships, so go check that out, because everywhere we just were in Tennessee, you'll be able to see our travel maps, the things we liked, the things we maybe didn't care for quite as much, and detailed so that you can plan a trip around that same thing that we just did. Make sure and go check all that stuff out over at the website, millersinmotion.com. Okay, what's left for today? Like I told you this morning before we left the Cracker Barrel, this is like the 5th time we've had an oversized load passes over the oversized loads. Like I said back at the Cracker Barrel, we kind of improvised, as we like to do. So we are headed to our site that we'll be in for at least the next 2 to 4 weeks. Instead of stopping short and coming back in, realized that it was only about a half-hour difference, so we're just committed to going.
And 2 other things to mention. First of all, if you've been following for the past few days, travel day here. Don't care. Second of all, You know, our fridge is broken. Yes, we did 4 days of driving, 5 days in Tennessee with no fridge. So don't let those kinds of things slow you down. You can still get out there and have a lot of fun and enjoy the things. We have finally made it back to our site for the next few weeks here in the Fort Worth area. And the first thing we do is we get everything kind of, the slides pushed out, and we look for, I don't want to call it damage, but we understand these are earthquakes rolling down the road. And especially when we drove, what, a total of 16 hours, something like that, things are going to move. So this is like a fun little Christmas surprise. Yesterday we opened this cabinet to find that the Cheerios had exploded. I don't entirely know how that happened, but that's okay. Nothing else seemed to.
We also don't know what happened on this drive. This is the first time we've opened it.
So this is our first time. There are more Cheerios in there, so there's a chance we have a second Cheerio explosion. Anyways, so let's check the pantry first. Aha!
The Cheerios stayed up there this time. Bless of them.
Cheerios stayed up there. Oh, we put our moonshine in here. Let's double check that too. Yeah.
And your contraband maple syrup from Cracker Barrel you
Not
stole.
contraband. I asked for that, and they were kind enough to give it to me. Thank you. So, all right, pantry for the win this time. I would say thank you to Independent Suspension for that one, because one of the other things we recently had a small issue with was the hanging rod here in that front closet. And it looks like something broke, the rod fell, and we couldn't reuse it. So we actually, that's the sum of it, right?
Yeah, in a nutshell, the rod was not adequate for the amount of clothes we are putting on it.
Uh-huh. Your clothes are bigger than mine.
Yeah, mine do way more. And so because we full-time, we needed to use a lot of hanging space. And we do. We hang a lot of stuff up. Mm-hmm. So because the rod from factory wasn't meant for what we pushed it to, it bent in the middle. Mm-hmm. And it was doing that before we removed it. And when we drove, it bounced. Mm-hmm. And when it bounced, it just came out of the end caps. So the rod itself didn't break. It just had too much give in it, and it came out of the end caps.
But one of those end caps also did break.
Oh, did it?
Yeah,
okay,
I
never
saw
mind.
that on the ground.
So one of the end caps did break. My bad. So I went and replaced them, but I replaced it with a residential home version because it had a lot more strength. Mm-hmm. The downside of that was I didn't think this through, but it was free moving on the inside because it's not like it's worked fine for like the few weeks it was in here.
Yeah.
Right, but as soon as we moved, it shook inside. So anyway, I'm gonna let Lauren take back over now.
So when we went into motion, the rod kind of adjusted, and then it was too short for the brackets, and then that fell. So that was also a fun little clothing explosion that happened in here. So, my fix worked. All we lost was one hanger. So what we did was over here where the joint is. I can turn that on too. So what we did over here where the joint is was it's kind of like 3D tape. It's almost like foam tape. And
so essentially she created a rubber stopper.
I did. And so we just applied that, and I didn't take this part of the sticky off so that the clothes will still slide. Nothing will get stuck on it. And that kept the rod from collapsing on itself. And I'm really proud of my fix.
Ingenuity.
Aha.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us. So hopefully that helps. We're going to constantly be changing how we travel. We found deficiencies in this version too. So there's always going to be updates to it. The thing that's important to know is that when you're figuring out how you want to travel, you've got to do what's right for you.
Absolutely. There's no perfect way. You're just always trying to find the way to get the most out of it and what you're looking for out of it. That it's not just stressful, it's joyful.
Right. So, yeah, that is half the fun is the drive, even though roads in America suck.
But the independent suspension makes it that much better. And if you have questions on that, let us know.
Yeah, there is a link below, too. If you're curious on more ride products, you can click through to that. Save yourself 7%, not on the independent suspension, unfortunately. Yeah. But they will give you $100 towards free other stuff if you book an appointment and mention that we sent you there.
You got it.
We did pay for ours, by the way, so we just really like it.
We just really like it. It's benefited us so much.
Yep.
But yes.
So, all right. Well,
All
we're
right.
gonna get to finish unpacking and get situated.
Yes.
The Badgers are about to play, and I'm hungry, so
And
we're
it's
gonna
a
get 'em.
beautiful day. We're going to sit on the patio, the dogs and I, while he watches the foosball.
So until next week.
Bye, Mom.